This is one of the brake discs from my Triumph Speed Triple 1200 RS. It's quite remarkable that the only damage it did to the Brembo caliper itself is these few scratches in the gap here, one of the brake pads fell out, and one of the 4 pistons popped out as well.
However, that piston now has quite a few scratches on it.
Just deep enough to cause a brake fluid leak if we were to put it back in this condition.
And it could also damage the seals in the caliper over time, causing even bigger problems.
So today I'm going to attempt to fix it with this $5 glue and then see if it will hold brake pressure. Thank you to Pando Moto for gearing me up and sponsoring this video.
So this taco shell looking brake disc is off of this bike.
A 2023 Triumph Speed Triple 1200 RS that clipped an oncoming car on a mountain pass.
And then I bought it as a crash damage bike to rebuild. Now, I think it's quite obvious that I don't want to buy a brand new Brembo Stylemma caliper from Triumph for $950 when I already have one.
I can live with these small scratches, and given their location, I don't think they will ever be noticeable.
Now, Triumph will sell you a brake caliper piston and seal kit, and that is the next best solution and what I was going to do. That kit is around $240 though, and they won't let me buy just one piston and seals for it. I have to buy all 4.
And considering I already blew the budget on my Triumph build when I had to buy a whole new frame, I figured I should try to cut costs where I can. After all, the seals appear to be fine to the naked eye and by feel, and I've already rebuilt a front wheel after sourcing a second-hand rim and brake discs.
So if I can just find a way to get rid of these scratches so that it doesn't do any more damage to the seals in the future, I think this caliper will be good to go. I don't usually like making an entire video on a single job, but I have no idea if this is going to work or not. So I want to allocate enough time to it so that if it doesn't work, I can stop being cheap and go and buy the correct parts.
This is kind of like our local version of JB Weld. It was actually recommended to me by Noldo from Scarlet Customs to fill the scratches. He seems to save my ass on every job these days.
Well, that's if it works. It claims to be able to adhere to just about any rigid material, like metal, wood, glass, or cement, so we should be fine there. It also says it's workable, so you can mold it to the shape that you need, and it can even be machined once set, so it should be tough enough to fill a little scratch or two. But my fear isn't forces. After all, I don't think it's going to have to endure any forces really, it just needs to fill in the scratches and be smooth. My main concern is that since it is going to be exposed to brake fluid, I don't want that brake fluid to eat away at the putty over time. Luckily, it does say that it can withstand mild alkalines like oil and petrol. It sounds promising. The bad news is that I failed chemistry, so I had to resort to asking Google what brake fluid is, but it reassures me that brake fluid is indeed slightly alkaline, to prevent corrosion apparently. It sounds perfect.
But even though I can't really damage this piston any further, I still wanted to see how this putty works beforehand. And it was lucky that I did, because after making a fake aluminium brake piston and simulating the scratches with a hacksaw and kneading the stupid stuff for an eternity, it wasn't as easy to fill the scratches as I'd hoped, and it just kept falling off. The next day, it was even more evident that this was a terrible idea.
Okay, take 2. This is supposedly the exact same stuff with the exact same properties, but this one is an epoxy, so hopefully it's easier to fill in the scratches with this stuff, but still allows me to sand it down.
It was looking more promising right away, maybe because I read the instructions in my time of need. Don't judge me. The epoxy and hardener mixed together with a lot less effort than the putty required, and it smeared onto my mock brake piston nicely. In fact, I was so confident or naive this time that I went straight onto the real thing. But first, I sanded off any high spots on the scratches while also attempting to roughen up the surface to get the epoxy to adhere better, but also being careful not to damage the precision engineered piston any further. Then, after cleaning the piston with some brake cleaner and mixing up a fresh batch of goop, I gently lathered it on, trying my best to fill the cracks smoothly but not to form too much of a crust, leaving it looking ugly but promising.
Okay, so while we wait for that to dry, I've got some fresh brake fluid, brake cleaner, new brake pads for the front calipers because the bike only came with 50% of the brake pads that it needs, and that's not 50% brake wear. That's the physical pad was missing. And I've even got a new brake bleeding tool that I get to play with. Basically, if it has brake in the name, I have it. Since we had to disconnect all the brake lines to replace the frame, there's also zero brake pressure in the back brake as well, even though it has all the parts it needs. And in the front, basically just the brake lines are in place. I'm holding both calipers and the master cylinder with brake lever still attached. So let's piece it back together.
I decided to remove the rear wheel to make accessing the rear caliper easier, and just to be safe, I've been wearing motorcycle jeans this entire time.
You probably haven't even noticed because they're so sleek and normal looking. Riding jeans don't need to be super thick and clunky to be safe.
These jeans promise protection for up to 35 meters of sliding.
That is a lot further than I want to slide.
That's because they use strong Cordura fabric with chain stitches to resist tearing while sliding, making them perfect for everyday riding. There are pockets for hip and knee armor. The latter is also height adjustable because it's safer when it fits you perfectly.
They have plenty of gear to choose from, like this riding shirt that is perfect for summer.
It has ample storage, looks really unique, and has pockets for elbow, shoulder, and back armor that is also removable for easy washing.
I'm sure they also want me to mention the reflective strips for safety and their crash warranty. But what I think you need to see is this. These are a pair of jeans that they sent me almost 4 years ago, and they still look and feel just as good as the day I got them.
I've worn them in countless videos because they quickly became my favorite.
These pockets are awesome to access quickly on a motorcycle, and they snap closed so you can't lose what's in them. I've been wearing Panda Moto riding jeans exclusively for 5 years now, so if you want jeans that you can trust, check out their online store down below and use code CHAOS for 15% off. I have only ever bled brakes from completely dry using the old school method. Put some fluid in the reservoir, pump the brake lever a few times, hold the lever down while cracking the bleed nipple on the caliper, and eventually it will push all the air out of the system and build pressure. It was easier before ABS pumps because the brake line simply went from the master cylinder to the caliper. These days it has to go via the ABS pump, increasing the chance of air getting trapped in the system. So when I saw this cheap little pump designed to bleed brakes, I thought it might make life easier. It supposedly creates a vacuum in the lines so that when you release the pressure, it just sucks fluid straight through the system, being way easier.
First, I made sure the reservoir was filled and easily accessible. Then you attach the end of the hose to the bleed nipple, which unfortunately is on the bottom of the caliper in this configuration, which is never ideal, but I was hoping it wouldn't matter with my new tool. Then you pump this manly looking gun to build pressure, followed by opening the bleed nipple, and you can see a mix of air and fluid come shooting out. I kept an eye on the reservoir's level and repeated this process a few more times, but the lever still wasn't quite as firm as it should be. So you guessed it, eventually I stopped being lazy and took the caliper off so the bleed nipple could be at the top. Not long after that, my goop was dry. I immediately tossed the test piece into some brake fluid so we can come back in a few days to see how it withstands. And then sanding could commence on the real piston to get things smooth. I started dry sanding with a lower grit to knock off the bulk of the material, trying not to rush and to keep things even. And it didn't take long for the scratches to re-emerge, but this time filled with epoxy. So to finish things off, I upped the grit and kept things lubricated. And in way less time than I expected, I had it all smoothed out, and you could just barely feel the scratches with a fingernail. But I guess the only way to find out if it works or not is to press it back into place in the caliper and reattach it to the brake lines. I also used this opportunity to clean out the calipers now that they were sealed from the outside world again. And since this bike is practically brand new, they cleaned up with little effort. Then it was time for some new brake pads, albeit cheaper ones than Brembo's. And I also learned that Brembo's are awesome because the pads just slot into place. There aren't any retaining pins or tools required. And finally, before bleeding the system, I figured I might need the master cylinder, and I also installed a temporary set of handlebars to be able to pull the brake lever. For some reason, the front brakes were much faster to bleed, and they seem to be holding pressure, at least for now. And another good sign is that the brake fluid hasn't had any effect on the test piece so far.
But anyway, let me know if you think this is a hack, a bodge, a temporary fix, or if it's actually a permanent solution. For now, it seems to be working, but I am going to keep an eye on it. And I'll see you on the next ride.